Hi, this is TJ Shembekar. I wanted to show you an example of what it's like to fly a precision approach on the R9. So right now we're about 25, 27 miles north of Lakeland, and we are going to come in for an instrument approach. So let me show you how we do that. So right now, here's our flight plan. We're going direct Lakeland right now, and first thing I do is I go to the Fms Information page, and this just gives me a little bit of an overview of what's happening at the airport. I can see the weather right now. However, I can't get the full ATIS information. For the ATIS information, I do actually have to plug in the frequencies. So here are the frequencies, and another way of getting there is the frequency list button. So here I am plugging in the ATIS into my second comm, and I'm going to turn on the second comm and call approach. So let's figure out the approach frequency. Again, I use the frequency list button, go down and pick the approach frequency, activate it, and right here, you can see that this is the Tampa approach frequency, and I'm just waiting for a break in the radio. Tampa approach, Cirrus 346 Tango Juliet. Yes, sir, I'm 23 miles north of Lakeland with information Oscar. Would like vectors for the GPS 27 approach. We're going to do a missed approach VFR northbound. 0157. And since we're already 21 miles away now, I'm going to slow down a little more just to give the controller a little time to set me up. And while he's doing that, I know I'm going to get the approach. Let me load up my approach. Nice easy way to do that is to pull it up on the flight plan, go right over to the approach, pick my approach. Here's the RNAV GPS 27 approach, and here are the initial fixes. One of the really cool features here is this FMS preview, where we can actually see where the initial approach fixes are. So right now, I'm going to ask for him for the Condi fix. Descend down to 2000, and actually, correction, can we get the initial approach fix of Condi? Direct Condi down to 2000, 6 Tango Juliet. So here we are, we're going down. I've now set in 2000 into my altitude bug. I've begun the descent, and I'm going to activate Condi direct, because that's what I asked him for. And notice the map updates right away to show me my path, and the autopilot now is going to take me directly to Condi. And I'm going to do Condi at the same time I'm going to descend down to 2000. Now, I actually know this airport really well, but one of the other things you would do even before this whole thing is brief the approach. So to brief the approach, what we do is we go into the chart page of the map tab, we paste in our destination, and we select the chart. So here is the GPS 27 approach. Here are all the frequencies, minimum descent. You see this is a nice, and you see on this page here, we've got our decision altitude of 449, which is 307 above ground. And so as you can see, this is a busy airspace, but this is an LPV approach, which you can see right here. Later, we're going to see that on the screen here as well. But what I like to do is I like to load up this combined chart together, and the controller actually cleared me all the way down to 2000, but normally I would stay above 2700. And we're also going to queue up the tower frequency as a backup, because that's likely our next approach. And luckily that other traffic is now behind us. 2700, 6 Tango Juliet. Now that was unusual. The controller asked me to descend to 2000, then asked me to climb to 2700. But, as happens quite often in busy airspace, whatever he asks for, we do. So, let me show you again the approach. So, we're coming here to Condi, straight down, no procedure turn, 2700, then direct inbound on the final approach fix. The glide path for the final approach is at ECADE, and our missed approach instructions are straight 2000 to Kenneth. Cleared RNAV 27, 6 Tango Juliet. So now we're cleared for the approach. So we're now getting close to Condi. We're 5 miles out, according to the FMS. And one of the other nice things is you can see it directly overlaid on the chart because the GPS has the overlay built in. So I like to keep my map page on here. Then I like to keep my flight plan and map split and showing. That way I can see the distances to each fix, because that is what the controllers usually want you to be cognizant of. Now right now, as you can see, I'm letting the S-Tech autopilot fly this entire approach, and it does drift a little bit. Hopefully soon, when the DFC 100 gets installed, that problem will go away. We're now 2 miles from Condi. We've already been cleared for the approach, so we will begin our turn at probably another mile and a half. And what I'm going to do now is get my power settings all configured for the approach. So I'm going to reduce power, slow us down quite a bit, get us to better approach speeds. Now, just to remind everyone, I'm at 2700 till Gildy, then I'll go down to 1700 to ECADE. So since I'm leveled off at 2700, one of the nice things you can do is you can queue up the next altitude fix that you know you're going to use in the bug prior to actually activating it. So here I am at Condi, and I'm about to begin my right turn. Here's my right turn. The other thing I like to do is queue up tower frequency on standby for radio 1. I also like to queue up the ground frequency as standby for radio 2. So I've got approach, tower, ATIS, ground. Now the FMS is telling us that we're approaching the Class D airspace. That's okay. We're talking to approach. All is well. So we'll keep our map page back at the chart, and we'll go back to the flight plan page. We're now 3 miles from Gildy. We're going to slow down even more, because when I begin my descent, I want my speed to be down in the 120 range. Right after I pass Gildy in another 2 miles, I'm going to activate the altitude bug that I put in a few minutes ago. And 120 is a good speed. I want to maintain this airspeed approximately. I need to be under 119 for flaps in this plane. And here it's telling me my next leg on my journey. Now 1 mile. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here. And I'm beginning my turn and beginning my descent down to 1700. I've got 6 miles till the next fix, which is ECADE, which is the final approach fix. Now, my tapes have come in because this is a precision approach. Notice it's activated the LPV feature, which tells me specifically what kind of approach it is. So now I'm in a descent, so my 120 became 130. Should get back to 120 by the time I level off at 1700. And if you look real close, you can actually see the runway now. But we're pretending we're in the clouds and we're still flying the approach. Now if you notice, the autopilot has now captured the glide slope, but if you recall from the map, the glide slope, the final approach fix, is not till ECADE, which is 3 miles away. So right now, it shows that we are below the glide slope. But that arrow will come in and join as we get closer to ECADE. Over to tower, 124.5, 6 Tango Juliet. Now I've already queued it up, so I'm ready. Lakeland Tower, Cirrus 346 Tango Juliet, 2 miles outside of ECADE on the GPS 27. And can we get a right turn climb out to 360? They actually did give me one. Right 360, maintain VFR, 6 Tango Juliet. Now we're going to slow down a little bit more, get our airspeed under the 119. As soon as our airspeed's under the 119, now we're going to put in 1 notch of flaps. Glide slope's coming alive, and we are just passing the final approach fix. As soon as we pass the final approach fix, the fly vectors mode should change to enable published mist. I'll enable the published mist. Now my map is activated, and he's actually given me climb out instructions for the mist, but if he didn't, this is the published mist. So I'm going to fly this glide slope down, which I'm doing right now. I'm going to fly it all the way down to 449. So we're going all the way down to minimums. And the other thing I'm going to do now, this is about as far as I usually let the autopilot do it. So I've now disengaged the autopilot, flying totally by hand, and I've got everything queued up. The other thing I like to do is get my heading bug set to the missed approach instruction. So he gave me a heading of 360, and I'll have that set up. Notice my arrows here. I'm a little above glide slope, so I'm going to increase my descent a little bit, reduce power a little bit more so I don't go over the airspeed I want. We're at 800 feet. And you can see from the indicators we're right where we should be. If you look out the window, there's the runway, and the lights on the runway also confirm that. 500 feet above ground, we can go all the way down to 449. And that's about good. So we are full power. We're going to go flaps up and over to 360. Lakeland Tower, 6 Tango Juliet's on the mist.